Hi everyone, welcome to today's presentation. This presentation will be about family emergency preparedness. My name is Patricia and I will be walking you through the next few slides. So before we move forward, I wanted to ask you a question. Have you ever thought about how to prepare for an emergency? If an emergency, how would you cope with the following? Look after your family for 72 hours, cope without power or tap water, and lastly, contact your family and receive information. These are a couple questions you want to keep in the back of your mind. You want to see if you have ever thought about the possibility of an emergency in this case. So know the risks, know your region. The consequences of emergencies can be similar, but knowing the risk in your region can help you prepare. So here's a fun fast fact for you. Although the majority of Canadians believe that having an emergency plan and emergency kit are important, only a small minority have actually created them. And this is a problem just because we need to be able to prepare in case of an emergency in the future. So some important factors to consider in the event of an emergency would be the following. So learn the 3 steps to getting prepared, which are know the risk, make a plan, and get a kit. Some common misconceptions that are known are most emergencies are short-lived. I won't ever have to deal with an emergency where I live. There are a lot of emergencies I just can't prepare for. And lastly, preparing takes too much time. So because these emergencies, preparing for an emergency takes too much time, it kind of makes us a little lazy. And so we tend to not focus on something that is not happening in the moment. We tend to hold it for later in the future, which is not good in some cases. Make a plan. You aren't prepared until you make a plan. Use your emergency preparedness guide as an outline. Photocopy your plan. Keep copies of your plan in safe and memorable places. So making a plan gets us going. It helps us to be prepared and safe in the near future. Family preparedness. Healthy families. Health behaviors are influenced by social, cultural, and physical environments where we live and work. These healthy behavioral traits are acts of maintaining, attaining, or regaining good health, thus preventing illness. What are the common health behaviors to habitually act? Exercising regularly, a balanced diet, acquiring necessary inoculations, and good personal hygiene. Vaccinations. Not only do we have to prepare externally for an emergency, we also have to prepare our adaptive active immune system to defend against pathogens through vaccine administration. This would teach our immune system to slowly develop defense mechanisms, starting with recognizing specific virus or bacterium that the body encounters as invaders, then producing antibodies for future pathogen exposures. Therefore, to help our immune system develop protection from a disease, particularly for this case scenario, a communicable disease up-to-date immunization are extremely important. First aid and CPR. An emergency life-saving technique, having the knowledge to not only recognize signs of an emergency, but also performing CPR could save people's lives during an emergency. Knowing first aid and CPR is a really good technique to learn. Not a lot of people are aware that they can take these classes. And when you are prepared, you are able to step up and save a life in case of an emergency. And lastly, here is hand washing. So, good personal hygiene is a must, and hand washing is one of them. Make it a habit to be clean and also part of a good health behavior. So right now with all this COVID stuff, we have to make sure we are thoroughly washing our hands and keeping safe. Our bacteria can be in the air around us for about 24 hours. So if we are touching a surface and somebody comes and touches the same surface, they are being contaminated with those germs as well. So we need to make sure that we are properly washing our hands and using hand sanitizer when available. So general steps for preparedness. These are a couple steps that I will be going over with you. So taking some simple steps to prepare yourself and your family now can improve your chances of staying safe and healthy during a disaster situation. The following are recommendations for basic preparations and plans. You can visit ready.gov for more step-by-step instructions on how to cope with these things. Assemble disaster supply kits for your home and car. Remember to place food and water on a regular basis. Create a family disaster plan and practice it regularly. Learn and teach others how to turn off the electricity, gas, and water. Learn how to use a fire extinguisher. Check fire extinguishers and replace batteries in flashlights twice a year. Make a list of any special needs for elderly or disabled persons, children, and or pets. Develop a habit of keeping a full tank of gas in your car. And lastly, have a list of organizations that can be contacted for an emergency assistance and help with keeping, keeping disaster supplies. Have a plan. Only 39% of Americans have developed an emergency plan and discussed it with their family. Remember, you need to remain calm, organize your thoughts to prevent scattered mind during an emergency, and follow through with your developed emergency plans. Like I was saying earlier, we need to be able to have a plan to be prepared. If we're not prepared when it comes to the situation, we tend to become a little bit hesitant, and because we are thinking about so many things, we get lost in thought and we're not able to focus properly, which does not only help doesn't help us, it doesn't help anybody else, and it makes the situation become more difficult. So know which disasters are common in your area and how to prepare your family. Learn community warning signs and how to react to different alerts. So you can always subscribe to the alerts and it will send them directly to your cell phone. Know when you should shelter in place and where the safest place in your home is during different emergencies. Find escape routes in your home and evacuation routes in your community. Practice using these routes with your family and carry an emergency contact card so that responders know how to get in touch with your loved ones. Gathering emergency supplies. So your emergency kit should always include extra batteries, a flashlight, extra cell phone charger, a first aid kit, and personal documents. 48% of Americans do not have an emergency supplies for a disaster. So like I said, becoming prepared early will be better in the future for not only you, but your family as well. Having a floor plan. Emergency exits, designate a family meeting area, escape routes from neighborhood, ensure help for people with disabilities. So having a floor plan and going over it with your family can help prepare. That way everybody is aware of what to do in case of an emergency. And a special needs plan. Health information card, a grab and go bag with medication, prescriptions, medical documents, ensure walkers, oxygen tanks, and other emergency supplies, and personal support network. Those that are disabled or those that are elderly need to be cared for the most, especially the children as well. So it is good to prepare. That way they'll know what to do in case of an emergency. Hopefully they are not alone when it comes to a disaster, and that way everybody can remain more focused and be able to help out as a team. And some other helpful tips and hints would be the following. Choose an out of town and new contact person. Make arrangements through friends or culture centers. Practice your plan. Review your plan once a year. And register to alert SCC by texting 888-777. So these are a couple of hints that you would want to keep in mind just in case the power goes out, the signal goes bad, for whatever reason. We can have a plan and other things that we can do in order to prepare when it comes to those times. And that was it for today's presentation. Thank you for listening to Family Emergency Preparedness. My name is Patricia. Thank you and have a lovely day.